Trump. Untold Stories, Episode 4, The Art of the Fall, Trump, Bankruptcy, and Survival. If Episode 3 was about the spotlight, then Episode 4 is about the shadows that followed, the debt, the disasters, the 4 bankruptcies that could have ruined anyone else, but somehow didn't ruin Donald Trump. Because understanding Trump isn't just about examining what he built, it's about understanding what he survived. And more importantly, how he turned disaster into opportunity and failure into fuel. By the end of the 1980s, Donald Trump had mastered the public image of success. His name gleamed in gold across Manhattan. He had the penthouse in Trump Tower, the headlines in the New York Post, and an ego as tall as the buildings he was erecting. From Atlantic City casinos to luxury hotels, from an airline to a football team, Trump seemed unstoppable. But behind the illusion of unlimited success was a fragile empire, built on aggressive borrowing, high-interest junk bonds, and inflated valuations. The entire enterprise was balanced precariously on the assumption that the economy would always go up, and when it didn't, Trump's financial universe began to implode. The first collapse? Trump Taj Mahal. Trump's crown jewel in Atlantic City was pitched as the most luxurious casino the world had ever seen. It opened in 1990, dripping in chandeliers and lined with gold. But it came with a massive price tag. Over $1 billion, mostly funded with high-interest debt. From the day it opened, the numbers didn't add up. Revenue was high, but debt payments were higher. By 1991, it was losing millions a month. Trump filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. But even here, he demonstrated a kind of ruthless business cunning. He convinced lenders that he was worth more as a brand than a casualty. They agreed to reduce his stake in the casino in exchange for his continued involvement and name on the building. It was the first of many times Trump would sacrifice control while preserving the illusion of dominance. The second blow came quickly. The Plaza Hotel in Manhattan. A beloved New York landmark, Trump had bought it in a highly publicized deal, claiming he overpaid for the love of the building. That love proved expensive. The plaza failed to generate the kind of revenue needed to support the mountain of debt Trump used to acquire it. In 1992, another bankruptcy followed. Again, Trump ceded ownership, but managed to negotiate his way into a continued symbolic role. He wasn't ousted, he was repositioned. The third collapse came in 2004, when Trump hotels and casino resorts couldn't survive the accumulated weight of $1.8 billion in debt. This was no longer just about one property. It was a corporation bearing his name. The bankruptcy filings were scathing, yet Trump, ever the showman, spun the narrative. "It's not personal," he said, "it's just business." He stayed on as chairman, appeared in public, and continued to license his name. Shareholders took the hit. Trump did not. The fourth bankruptcy arrived in 2009 amid the global financial crisis. Trump Entertainment Resorts defaulted on interest payments and filed again. This time, Trump distanced himself further. "I had nothing to do with it," he insisted in interviews. His name was still on the company, but now he framed it as a branding deal gone bad, not a reflection of his financial skills. The blame was outsourced, the image remained. But how? How does a man go through 4 bankruptcies and still emerge not just unscathed, but elevated? The answer lies in a combination of savvy media manipulation, legal insulation, and cultural timing. Trump understood that in modern America, perception often outweighs reality. He was not the first tycoon to go bankrupt, but he may have been the first to do it so publicly and so shamelessly that the shock wore off. He leaned into the mythology of the comeback. In interviews, in books, and eventually on television, Trump sold the narrative that bankruptcy wasn't failure, it was strategy. He rebranded losses as restructuring and exits as smart business decisions. It wasn't his fault. It was the market, the economy, bad partners, everyone but Trump. and this framing resonated. In a country that lionizes second chances, Trump's story felt familiar. The scrappy businessman who takes risks, suffers losses, but always bounces back. It was Rocky in a suit. But there was another layer, the legal architecture of his empire. Trump separated his personal wealth from his corporate liabilities. Many of his most indebted ventures were structured as public companies or partnerships. When they failed, investors, banks, and shareholders lost money, not Trump himself. His personal fortune was protected by design. He had mastered the corporate firewall. Then there's the brilliance and danger of the Trump brand. Even as his businesses failed, the name gained value. The logic was strange but effective. The more Trump was in the news, the more name recognition he had, and the more developers were willing to license the Trump name for buildings, products, even TV shows. He became a brand divorced from performance, like a celebrity endorsement detached from the actual business outcomes. This made his fortune almost impervious to individual failures. A casino could close, but his name would open a hotel in Dubai. A lawsuit could rage, but the next reality show would still feature his voice. Bankruptcy didn't end his business, it became part of the story. His book, The Art of the Comeback, published in 1997, was not just a memoir, it was a marketing tool. It reframed disaster into resilience. He turned his darkest moments into chapters of triumph. Readers ate it up. Critics scoffed, but the myth grew. Even in politics, these bankruptcies became part of the pitch. When opponents brought them up, Trump replied with confidence, "I used the laws of this country brilliantly." And for many voters, especially those disillusioned with Wall Street, his response sounded savvy. It wasn't about ethics. It was about playing the game better than anyone else. To some, Trump's bankruptcies are proof of failure. To others, they are proof of fearlessness. To still others, they represent a systemic flaw, that in America, with the right lawyers, the right fame, and the right spin, you can fail upward indefinitely. This episode isn't just about numbers, it's about narratives, about how modern business is not just balance sheets, but storytelling. And Donald Trump, for all his flaws, is one of the greatest storytellers of his era. He didn't erase his losses, he owned them on his terms. He told you what they meant before you could decide for yourself. And in doing so, he wrote a version of the truth that millions chose to believe. This is the paradox of Trump, the billionaire who lost billions, the mogul who built, collapsed, and kept going, the man whose name survived what his empire could not. Coming next, Trump's most audacious gamble yet, the road to the White House. This is historical figure, Donald Trump, Untold Stories. Stay with us.